Has Cult of the Lamb pulled a Nobody Saves the World and patched in amazing local co-op? I am Couch Coop. It has, and it's awesome. Praise the local co-op gods, or me. What is Cult of the Lamb, first of all? Well, it's a 2022 indie game that was developed by Massive Monster and published by Devolver. I've always had my eye on it. If you saw the Dredge review, you'll know it's one of these indies that I've had earmarked to get on the system, get played, particularly on the PlayStation 5. By the way, this runs on the 4 and 5. No major differences. It's not a huge thirsty ask, so great news on performance on all Sony platforms. The game kind of plays a little bit like a base builder that revolves around smaller roguelike elements, dungeon crawling, powering up drops, developing your cult, essentially getting it bigger, gaining followers, just increasing the size of your arsenal and all the amenities and looking after a satanic cult that comes with that. This feels a little bit like The Binding of Isaac in sections and Enter the Gungeon, even a game called Archvale because of its close quarters dodge and roll mechanics, but you do get given range. It's all about clearing out smaller arenas, working your way through rooms, and you do have that slay the spire choice and the layering of buffs and perks at various outlets that increase your chances of smashing the crap out of what you've got coming up. And they essentially play your campaign with you. If you want to flip it out a little bit like Ark and then go and help the other person's profile with their campaign, that would be the way to do it. After our session, I whipped out and checked the profile of the person that joined to see if it had any single player development on it, and it didn't. It was like, you need to start a new game. So all of this just goes towards the person hosting, and that would be the person that invites the second player in, which is completely flawless, by the way. I'm always concerned with this. Some consoles, Xbox, they have issues with joining screens and lobby screens. This is essentially just start the campaign, the other person turns on their pad, hits options, and then it offers the chance to join immediately. You've also got a photo mode, which is completely adorable, not really needed, no camera pivot. It is nice to have it, and when your village / Satan City gets huge, it's probably quite fun to sort of have a little look around at everything in amazing detail. The second player does actually get to choose a tarot or direction to go in with the buff or perk off the bat, so that's pretty cool that there is some tailoring in there. I just don't want anybody to think that there's two campaigns running here. This is essentially someone coming in and helping out with the other person's campaign content. If you look at a game like Inquisitor Martyr, it is so much worse. It is actually a locked tack on. This is really enjoyable because both of you have access to everything, and that second player is actually making some decisions when it comes to perks and buffs at the various shops or different outlets. Essentially, the game model is that you travel out to these various ranked dungeons, achieve tasks within them, or have to collect elements to take back to your base to then build a new temple or upgrade certain sections of your settlement. The combat is snappy as hell. That dodge roll is massive. I will say the arenas at this stage are a little bit tight. They do open up when the game gets harder, but you can clearly see that there wasn't maybe that initial intention to bring in player 2 because they're so crowded. You've really got to maneuver around to know where everybody is, and it's a godsend having that cursor icon above your head. I know that's a bit immersion destroying. You will get lost in the thick of it at times. I also roped housemate Sean into this, who has no experience with this genre at all. Immediately picked it up. Very intuitive and simplified controls, but again offer that nice layer of mastery, and you are given a range pretty quick. That changes a lot up. It's all about positioning, and I was gobsmacked at the variance in different range attacks that are given to you without too much effort. It's already saying to us, look how crazy this game can get. There's something very solid about its gameplay. It's a mix of twin stick, but also some tactical arrangements are coming in, and you do get more than just the powers I'm showing you at the moment. It's the loot that's quite addictive, and upgrading that, finding new axes and swords and projectile weapons at the back of each room, again gives that end of the gungeon vibe. There's quite a lot of variant on rewards in this game, and it's almost Diablo-esque with what you're going to grab hold of next, what blights you're going to be able to apply to your weapons, or even what ludicrous tentacle projectile weapon you're going to upgrade in the following screen. There is just so much here with this game. You heard me talk about initial build and maybe they didn't have local co-op in mind. This is a single player indie game, was massive. Really good Steam reviews, loads of people love it. It's more than enough for just one person to get their teeth into. But to have it all accessed with 2 people, local co-op now, is such an amazing experience. Making the decisions, choosing the directions to go in with your buffs and builds, and having that shared hub and settlement to upgrade. The other player can even do the sermons. There's quite a lot of responsibility put on both of you. All of the rooms culminate in a boss, and talking about that Slay the Spire route system, you can choose to sort of go via a shop or avoid fights or go directly to the boss. You've also got different directions on exits with each of the tiles. There's a little bit of procedural generation at play. That's where I get that roguelike vibe, because you're never sure exactly what you're going to get behind those doors. I also like the idea of accumulation, getting more followers, building up that hub and city. None of those aforementioned games push as much into having that development, cooking, even getting the temple upgraded and pulling out worship points. There's even a black and white vibe, that RTS from Sid Meier from way back in the early 2000s. I think I'm right in saying that. The follower customization is deep as hell, and you can open up different forms. Think Power World with allocating them different jobs within the hub. You might have one gathering wood, one might have strengths like on Metal Gear 5. When you pull someone out who's really good in a particular situation, you might find a cool follower that can do excellent stuff whilst you're away dungeon crawling. That's one of my main points. This isn't just a dungeon crawler. This is almost like some sort of theme park sim, with the amount of pathways and decorative plants you can put in and around your places of worship. Half of that is the addiction, but we're just lucky to have some completely rip-roaring combat to boot. So the good news is all of this really works. This is up there with Nobody Saves the World and some of those aforementioned local co-op indies. This is a massive gift for us local co-op gamers, and it's on PSN. This update literally dropped today. There are no excuses for not trying this, other than it being well satanic, in a sort of cutesy, forgivable, indie, roguelike way. I do want to talk about how death is handled, because that's quite cool, creates quite a lot of urgency, and it's pretty difficult. You have to actually donate one of your hearts. They do go down in a fight. If you haven't got it, you can't bring them back, but if you finish the room on your own, they're then revived going to the next stage. So that's cool, and you are under pressure. If you've got a tiny bit of health and not enough to bring your other player back, you've got to fight and finish that room. There is quite a lot of tension, and I like that. It's not just ping, continue. There's not huge punishment. You don't lose all of your items or buffs, but that tension element works. You have to have the resources in order to get your mate back, or you've got one hell of a fight on your hands. I'm going to link the video I produced under the name of Top Local Co-op Twin Sticks, and this consists of 15 amazing games. I'm also going to include Top Local Co-op Rogue Likes and Road Likes. Fuck! Dang, that sentence is hard. Rogue Likes and Rogue Lights. And I'll also shooter campaigns and campaigns, full stop. I'm going to link everything I've got, because you found one of the best local co-op video game reviewers on YouTube. One of the best, I said. I'm really interested to hear what you think about this local co-op addition to Cult of the Lamb. You might prefer the single player. And I've also got one more Wild Hearts video coming out. PlayStation 5 full stop review. It's on the SSD, and get this, the game works in quality mode. The game so works in quality mode. I will see you down there.